faith and familiarity do not coexist. You cannot say you trust God while clinging to what feels safe. Look at Abraham. God told him to leave everything he knew, to walk away from his home, his family, his security, and go to a place that wasn't even revealed yet. Imagine that. Imagine packing up your entire life without knowing the destination. That's faith. That's trust. But some of you, you're waiting for a full blueprint before you move. You want clarity before obedience. You're saying, God, show me, then I'll trust you. But God is saying, trust me, then I'll show you. Every great transformation starts with uncertainty. Every person who has ever achieved something meaningful had to take a step before they saw the staircase. So the question is, will you stay in the familiar, or will you trust the unknown? The power of discomfort, where growth begins. Discomfort isn't a sign of failure. It's a sign of growth. Think about the gym. When you work out, your muscles ache. They burn. They stretch. It's uncomfortable. But that discomfort? That's how you grow stronger. Your body doesn't get stronger in comfort, it gets stronger through resistance. And life works the same way. So if you feel stretched right now, if you feel like you're being pulled beyond your limits, it's not because you're failing. It's because God is expanding you. Stop running from discomfort. Stop praying for an easier path. Growth isn't supposed to feel good. It's supposed to change you. So here's my challenge to you, step into discomfort. Do something this week that makes you nervous. Have that hard conversation. Apply for that job. Take that leap of faith. Because your next level is not in your comfort zone, it's on the other side of your fear. Are you ready to move? You had a plan. You mapped it out. You worked for it. You did everything right, yet somehow, things still didn't go the way you expected. Let me tell you something, you made the plans, but God made the purpose. See, we like to believe we're in control. We hold onto our plans so tightly, convinced that if we just work hard enough, strategize well enough, and plan perfectly, everything will go exactly as we imagined. But life doesn't work that way. Control is an illusion. And the more you try to hold on to it, the more frustrated you become. Because when things start falling apart, when the doors you wanted to walk through slam shut, it feels personal. It feels like failure. But what if it's not? What if the very thing you're fighting to hold on to is the thing God is trying to remove? What if your limited vision is blocking His limitless plan? Sometimes, the plans we cling to are the very things keeping us from the breakthrough we've been praying for. So here's the question, are you willing to loosen your grip? Are you willing to let go of control and trust that there's a bigger purpose at work? When dreams fall apart, redirection, not rejection. Nothing hurts quite like watching a dream slip through your fingers. You poured your heart into something. You sacrificed for it. You believed it was meant for you. And then, just like that, it was gone. That rejection letter. That missed opportunity. That relationship that didn't work out. The business that failed. It's devastating. And in that moment, it feels like the universe is against you. Like God is punishing you. But hear me when I say this, what looks like rejection is often God's way of saying, I have something better. Think about some of the most successful people in history. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for television. Steve Jobs was kicked out of the very company he built. At the time, they probably thought, this is it. My dream is over. But in reality, that setback was a setup for something greater. Some of you are mourning a lost dream, but you don't realize, it wasn't lost. It was redirected. Maybe that job you didn't get wasn't rejection, it was protection. Maybe that relationship that ended wasn't punishment, it was preparation. God is not in the business of taking things away from you for no reason. If He allowed something to end, it's because He has something far greater ahead. So instead of asking, why is this happening to me, start asking, what is this preparing me for? Surrendering to a greater vision, trusting the closed door. Letting go is hard. Surrendering is even harder. Because surrender means giving up control. It means stepping into the unknown with nothing but faith. And let's be real, faith isn't easy. It's messy. It's uncomfortable. It's walking in the dark, trusting that God will light the way, even when you can't see the path ahead. But let me ask you this, has holding on ever worked? Has fighting against a closed door ever brought you peace? Or has it only left you exhausted, frustrated, and questioning your worth? Sometimes, the greatest act of faith isn't pushing harder, it's letting go. God's vision for your life is bigger than anything you could ever imagine. His timing is perfect, even when it doesn't make sense. And his closed doors? They are just as much a blessing as the ones he opens. So what are you still holding on to? What dream, what plan, what expectation have you refused to release? Maybe today is the day you finally surrender. Not because you're giving up, but because you're making room for something greater. Trust the closed door. Because what's waiting on the other side? It's bigger than you ever dreamed. When money becomes security, the illusion of control. Let's be real, money makes life easier. It puts a roof over your head, food on your table, and security in your heart. But here's the hard truth, if money is your security, then what happens when it's gone? God will shake what you depend on to remind you who your true provider is. See, we don't always realize it, but money can become an idol. Not in the form of worshipping dollar bills, but in the way we put our trust in it. We start believing that as long as we have enough in the bank, we're safe. We don't need to worry. We don't need to pray as much. We don't need to depend on God because we think we have everything under control. But what happens when that financial stability is ripped away? A job loss. An unexpected expense. An investment that crashes. Suddenly, the foundation you were standing on feels like quicksand. That's why God allows certain doors to close. Not to punish you. Not to break you. But to wake you up. Money is a resource, God is the source. And when you confuse the two, He will remind you. So, let me ask you, where's your trust? Is it in your paycheck, your savings account, your ability to provide? Or is it in something unshakable, something eternal, something that doesn't rise and fall with the stock market? Because if your security is built on anything but God, it's only a matter of time before it crumbles. 2. When everything crumbles, finding purpose in financial hardship. There's a moment in life when everything you counted on disappears. When your plans, your financial safety net, your comfort, gone. And in that moment, fear creeps in. Doubt takes over. You start asking, why me? What did I do wrong? But hear me, your struggle isn't punishment, it's preparation. Look at Job in the Bible. He had everything, wealth, success, family, and in an instant, it was stripped away. Not because he was being punished, but because he was being tested. And what happened? He came out stronger. He came out blessed beyond measure. Now, maybe you're thinking, that's just a story. So let's talk real life. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first television job. Walt Disney went bankrupt before he built his empire. Elon Musk slept on a friend's couch when he couldn't afford rent. Setbacks don't define you, your response to them does. Some of you are sitting in financial struggle right now, wondering why God would allow this. But what if He's not trying to break you? What if He's trying to build you? What if He's teaching you resilience? Humility? A deeper faith that isn't tied to a paycheck but to His promises? You're being prepared for something greater. And when you stop seeing your struggle as a punishment and start seeing it as a setup, you will shift from feeling defeated to feeling empowered. Because the truth is, God doesn't leave His people in lack. But He will take you through the valley to show you who really sustains you. 3. Trusting God's provision, learning to rely on the source, not the resource. Here's something powerful to remember, God doesn't want you to trust money, He wants you to trust Him. Because money can run out. Jobs can disappear. The economy can crash. But God? He never fails. Think about the Israelites in the wilderness. Every single day, God provided manna, just enough for that day. Not a stockpile. Not an overflow. Just enough. And you know why? Because he wanted them to trust him, not the supply. Some of you are in a season right now where God is teaching you to depend on him daily. Not on your savings. Not on your job. Not on your plans. But on him. And that's hard. Because we like control. We like knowing where our next check is coming from, how our bills will be paid. But faith isn't about knowing, it's about trusting. Trusting that even when the numbers don't add up, God will make a way. Trusting that even when the doors seem closed, another is about to open. Trusting that even in uncertainty, he has never failed you, and he won't start now. So, instead of stressing over what's in your hands, start believing in what's in his. Because when you shift your trust from the resource to the source, you will find peace, no matter what your bank account says. The frustration of waiting, when progress feels out of reach ***. Why does it feel like everyone else is moving forward but you? You scroll through your phone, and there it is, another person announcing a promotion, a new house, a dream opportunity. Meanwhile, you feel stuck, running in place while life speeds past you. It's frustrating. It's exhausting. And worst of all, it makes you question yourself. You start to wonder, ***, am I not good enough? Am I doing something wrong? ***, the weight of waiting turns into a burden of self-doubt. And in that doubt, impatience creeps in. You begin comparing your timeline to others, forgetting that their journey isn't yours. You see their highlight reels but not the years of struggle behind their success. Here's the truth, when you focus on someone else's progress, you rob yourself of your own. Impatience leads to desperation, and desperation leads to bad decisions. The worst thing you can do is force something before it's time. A fruit picked too soon is bitter. A house built too fast collapses. Success that isn't ready to hold you will break you. So, before you let frustration take over, ask yourself, ***, am I waiting in frustration, or am I preparing in faith? ***. The power of delay, understanding God's timing. A delay is not a denial, it's preparation. But we don't like delays, do we? We want it now. We want the dream, the breakthrough, the answered prayer, and we want it today. But let me tell you something, if God is making you wait, it's because he's making you ready. Look at Joseph in the Bible. He had a vision of leadership, yet he was thrown into a pit, sold as a slave, and imprisoned for years. Every delay seemed unfair, but every delay was positioning him. When the right time came, he wasn't just a leader, he was the leader Egypt needed. If he had arrived early, he wouldn't have been ready. Think about your own life. What if the thing you're praying for came too soon? Would you be able to handle it? Sometimes, God withholds things not to punish you, but to prepare you. Because rushed blessings become burdens. What you call a delay, God calls development. And when the right moment comes, you won't just receive what you've been waiting for, you'll be the person who can sustain it. So don't fight the wait. Lean into it. There's a purpose in the pause. Patience is a weapon, strengthening your faith through waiting. God is not punishing you, he's positioning you. But that positioning requires patience, and patience isn't passive, it's a weapon. It's what strengthens you when life feels uncertain. It's what builds resilience when things don't go your way. And most importantly, it's what keeps your faith alive when the road is long. Every delay, every disappointment, every closed door is sharpening you. You don't build strength in comfort. You build it in the struggle. And faith isn't proven when things happen instantly, faith is proven when you trust God even in the silence. Can you believe in the promise, even when there's no proof yet? That's what patience teaches you. So here's what you do, stop trying to force doors open. If it's not opening, it's not your door. Trust the process. Instead of wasting energy on frustration, invest it in preparation. Develop yourself. Learn new skills. Strengthen your character. The waiting season isn't about punishment, it's about positioning. Because when the right opportunity comes, you won't just step into it, you'll be ready for it. So keep waiting. Keep believing. Keep preparing. Because the breakthrough you're waiting for isn't just coming, it's coming at the perfect time. The frustration of waiting, when progress feels out of reach ***. Why does it feel like everyone else is moving forward but you? You scroll through your phone, and there it is, another person announcing a promotion, a new house, a dream opportunity. Meanwhile, you feel stuck, running in place while life speeds past you. It's frustrating. It's exhausting. And worst of all, it makes you question yourself. You start to wonder, am I not good enough? Am I doing something wrong? The weight of waiting turns into a burden of self-doubt. And in that doubt, impatience creeps in. You begin comparing your timeline to others, forgetting that their journey isn't yours. You see their highlight reels but not the years of struggle behind their success. Here's the truth, when you focus on someone else's progress, you rob yourself of your own. Impatience leads to desperation, and desperation leads to bad decisions. The worst thing you can do is force something before it's time. A fruit picked too soon is bitter. A house built too fast collapses. Success that isn't ready to hold you will break you. So, before you let frustration take over, ask yourself, am I waiting in frustration, or am I preparing in faith? The power of delay, understanding God's timing. A delay is not a denial, it's preparation. But we don't like delays, do we? We want it now. We want the dream, the breakthrough, the answered prayer, and we want it today. But let me tell you something, if God is making you wait, it's because He's making you ready. Look at Joseph in the Bible. He had a vision of leadership, yet he was thrown into a pit, sold as a slave, and imprisoned for years. Every delay seemed unfair, but every delay was positioning him. When the right time came, he wasn't just a leader, he was the leader Egypt needed. If he had arrived early, he wouldn't have been ready. Think about your own life. What if the thing you're praying for came too soon? Would you be able to handle it? Sometimes, God withholds things not to punish you, but to prepare you. Because rushed blessings become burdens. What you call a delay, God calls development. And when the right moment comes, you won't just receive what you've been waiting for, you'll be the person who can sustain it. So don't fight the wait. Lean into it. There's a purpose in the pause. Patience is a weapon, strengthening your faith through waiting. God is not punishing you, He's positioning you. But that positioning requires patience, and patience isn't passive, it's a weapon. It's what strengthens you when life feels uncertain. It's what builds resilience when things don't go your way. And most importantly, it's what keeps your faith alive when the road is long. Every delay, every disappointment, every closed door is sharpening you. You don't build strength in comfort. You build it in the struggle. And faith isn't proven when things happen instantly, faith is proven when you trust God even in the silence. Can you believe in the promise, even when there's no proof yet? That's what patience teaches you. So here's what you do, stop trying to force doors open. If it's not opening, it's not your door. Trust the process. Instead of wasting energy on frustration, invest it in preparation. Develop yourself. Learn new skills. Strengthen your character. The waiting season isn't about punishment, it's about positioning. Because when the right opportunity comes, you won't just step into it, you'll be ready for it. So keep waiting. Keep believing. Keep preparing. Because the breakthrough you're waiting for isn't just coming, it's coming at the perfect time. Embracing change, recognizing that not everyone can come with you. Understanding growth, when the old no longer fits. When you grow, not everyone will understand the new you. Personal growth shifts your perspective, refines your values, and challenges your surroundings. The people who once fit into your life may no longer align with the person you're becoming. And that's hard to accept. Are you holding on to friendships that dim your light? Growth demands evaluation. Some relationships inspire, while others drain. If you find yourself shrinking to stay comfortable, it's a sign that your growth is outpacing your environment. You are not meant to fit into a version of yourself you've outgrown. The truth is, you can't take everyone with you. Some will support your growth, others will resist it. And that's okay. The real question is, are you willing to let go of what holds you back so you can step into what's ahead? The challenge of letting go, accepting the pain of outgrowing. Growth hurts. And one of the hardest parts is outgrowing people who once felt like home. Letting go feels like loss, but in reality, it's making room. If you cling to what no longer serves you, you delay what's meant for you. Sometimes, staying means sacrificing your future. You cannot step into the next level of your life while being anchored to relationships that keep you stagnant. And while it may feel painful now, on the other side of that pain is freedom, clarity, and alignment. So here's the challenge: stop apologizing for your growth. You are allowed to change, evolve, and want more for yourself. And when you do, the right people will find you, the ones who celebrate your growth, not resent it. Signs of a season shift: recognizing when it's time to let go and elevate your circle. Identifying the telltale signs: when friendships no longer align. Does your circle still reflect the person you're becoming? Growth demands honesty. If the conversations you once enjoyed now feel empty, if the energy drains rather than fuels, it's time to reevaluate. A misaligned friendship isn't always toxic, it can simply be outdated. And recognizing that doesn't mean you stop caring, it means you start choosing. Choosing to surround yourself with people who challenge you, inspire you, and push you toward your best self. Building a new tribe, creating a circle that propels you forward. Your environment shapes you. The people around you influence your mindset, habits, and aspirations. So, elevate your circle. Seek relationships that expand your vision, not limit it. Surround yourself with those who believe in your potential, who encourage your growth, and who refuse to let you settle. Because here's the truth: who you surround yourself with will either push you toward greatness or pull you back into comfort. Choose wisely. Elevate your circle, and let your true self shine. The door of old identity closes to reveal your true self. Breaking free from who you were, the pain of shedding the old you. God will not let you live in a version of yourself that no longer serves your purpose. And yet, so many of us cling to our old selves, afraid of what lies beyond. Why? Because change is uncomfortable. Growth demands sacrifice. And stepping into something new means leaving something behind. Staying the same is dangerous. Comfort zones are called that for a reason: they're cozy, familiar, and safe. But they also trap you. Growth zones, on the other hand, stretch you, challenge you, and force you to rise higher. And that stretch is painful. Maybe you've noticed it: certain conversations no longer excite you. Certain environments drain you instead of inspire you. You feel disconnected from things that once made you feel alive. That's not a sign of confusion. That's a sign of evolution. Ask yourself, are you holding on to an identity that no longer fits your future? Because the longer you try to hold on, the more resistance you'll feel. You weren't meant to stay the same. You were meant to grow. The struggle of reinvention, embracing the transformation process. Change feels like loss. Because in many ways, it is. You're letting go of familiar habits, relationships, and roles. And that's hard. But what if I told you that everything you're losing is making space for something greater? Think about Abraham. God told him to leave his homeland, his family, and everything familiar to step into the unknown. No map, no guarantees, just faith. And because he obeyed, he became the father of nations. His old identity had to die so that his true purpose could be revealed. Or take the caterpillar. It doesn't just wake up one day as a butterfly. It enters a cocoon, dissolves, and transforms. It literally breaks down before it becomes something new. That's what transformation looks like. It's messy, painful, and uncertain. But it's necessary. Growth is painful, but staying the same is worse. The hardest part of reinvention isn't becoming something new, it's letting go of what was. But hear me when I say this: you are not meant to be stuck in an old version of yourself just because it's comfortable. You are meant for more. Stepping into a higher calling, becoming the woman you were meant to be. You are being shaped into the woman you were always meant to be. But that version of you doesn't come easy. It requires refinement. And refinement comes through struggle. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Gold is purified in fire. And you? You are being shaped through every challenge, every setback, every moment of doubt. Nothing is wasted. Every pain, every loss, every lesson, it's all building you into the woman God called you to be. But here's the key, you have to stop fighting the transformation. Stop resisting the process. Stop trying to hold onto old versions of yourself that no longer serve you. Because the moment you fully embrace your new identity, you step into your true power. It's time to walk with confidence. It's time to trust the process. It's time to let go of fear and step boldly into your calling. So I'll leave you with this, will you keep shrinking back into the woman you were? Or will you rise into the woman you were always meant to be? The choice is yours. Recognizing distractions. Not every opportunity is a God opportunity. Just because it looks good doesn't mean it's meant for you. Opportunities will come your way, but not all of them are aligned with your purpose. The greatest threat to focus is not failure, it's distraction. And distractions don't always come disguised as problems. Sometimes, they show up as good things that aren't meant for you. Busyness is not the same as productivity. You can fill your schedule, chase every opportunity, and still feel empty because you're not walking in alignment. How many times have you said yes to something just because it seemed exciting, only to realize it pulled you away from what truly matters? What are you saying yes to that's keeping you from your true calling? It's time for a reality check. Every moment spent on something outside your purpose is a moment stolen from what God has actually called you to do. Refining your energy, learning to say no to what doesn't align. You have to protect your time, your mind, and your spirit. The ability to say no is not about rejecting opportunities, it's about refining your energy. Every yes you give should be a step toward your destiny, not a detour away from it. Setting boundaries is not selfish, it's necessary. Look at Jesus, he didn't heal everyone, didn't travel everywhere, and didn't say yes to every request. He stayed focused on his mission. If he needed boundaries, so do you. Think of Nehemiah rebuilding the wall. People tried to distract him, pull him into unnecessary battles, but he responded with one simple phrase, I am doing a great work and I cannot come down. That's the mindset you need. Every no to a distraction is a yes to your destiny. It's time to guard your focus with everything you have. Laser focus, the clearer your vision, the more doors will open that actually matter. When you truly know what you're called to do, distractions lose their power. Clarity is the key that unlocks the right doors. When your vision is clear, you stop wasting time on things that don't align. You stop entertaining people who pull you backward. You stop chasing every opportunity that comes your way, because you know not everything is meant for you. Alignment attracts. When you commit fully to your purpose, the right doors open, the right people show up, and the right resources find you. But it takes discipline. It takes faith. It takes the courage to let go of what no longer serves you so you can step into what God has prepared for you. So here's the challenge. What do you need to eliminate today to move closer to your purpose? Because every second wasted on distractions is a second stolen from your destiny. It's time to focus, lock in, and move with intention toward the future God has called you to. Desires versus destiny. You think you know what you want, but God knows what you need. Let me ask you something. Have you ever wanted something so badly, convinced it was the missing piece to your happiness, only to realize later that it wasn't what you needed at all? That's the difference between desire and destiny. We are all wired to chase what looks good, what feels comfortable, and what seems right in the moment. But let me tell you, just because something is appealing doesn't mean it's aligned with your purpose. Your personal desires may be strong, but God's plan for you is stronger. And sometimes, the hardest thing to accept is that what you want and what will actually fulfill you are not the same thing. What if God's no is actually a greater yes in disguise? What if the relationship that ended, the opportunity that slipped through your fingers, or the door that closed wasn't rejection, but redirection? It takes courage to surrender, to trust that even when you don't understand, God is working things out in your favor. He's not withholding good things from you, He's setting you up for something greater. The question is, will you trust Him, or will you keep holding on to something that was never meant to be yours? How loss leads to gain, when what you lose is a setup for something better. Rejection is redirection. Let that sink in. Think about someone who lost something they thought was essential, a job, a relationship, a dream, and later realized that the loss was actually the best thing that ever happened to them. Take Oprah Winfrey. She was fired from her first job as a news anchor. Fired. She could have let that moment define her, make her feel unworthy, or convince her she wasn't meant for success. Instead, she stepped into something greater. That loss led to the opportunity to create her own platform, one that would change lives worldwide. What if what you lost wasn't meant to destroy you, but to develop you? What if the pain you're feeling now is part of the process that will shape you into the person you're meant to be? Every setback has a lesson, and every closed door is an invitation to pivot. The pain you feel today can be the power you use tomorrow, if you trust the process. Acceptance and trust. God is not taking from you, He's making room for something greater. It's easy to mourn what's gone. It's natural to grieve the things you once had, the people who left, or the plans that didn't work out. But at some point, you have to ask yourself, am I going to keep looking back, or am I going to make room for what's ahead? Think about Abraham in the Bible. God told him to leave his home, his comfort, everything he knew, to step into something greater. Imagine if Abraham had refused, clinging to what was familiar instead of trusting God's promise. He would have missed out on the destiny designed for him. The same is true for you. What you've lost is not the end. It's preparation. The closed door, the unanswered prayer, the unexpected change, it's all making space for something better. Will you keep mourning, or will you open your hands and receive what's next? The door of the past closes so you can step into the future. Letting go of yesterday, you cannot walk into a new season holding onto old baggage. You cannot receive new blessings while carrying old baggage. It's time to let go. We all have things from our past that try to follow us into our future, old mindsets, old habits, old wounds. But if you keep looking back, you'll never move forward. Picture someone trying to run while holding onto a heavy suitcase. Eventually, the weight slows them down. If you don't release what no longer serves you, you'll never reach what's waiting ahead. What baggage do you need to drop today? A grudge? A failure? A version of yourself that no longer fits your future? It's time to let it go. Forgiveness and closure, healing from past wounds. Unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. The weight of resentment only holds you back. Forgiveness isn't about saying what happened was okay, it's about setting yourself free. Some of you are waiting for an apology that may never come. But let me tell you, your healing isn't dependent on them. It's dependent on you. Closure isn't something someone else gives you, it's something you choose for yourself. Let it go. Release it. Not for them, for you. Moving forward boldly, your best days are ahead of you, not behind you. Fear of the unknown can be paralyzing. But let me tell you something, if you have the courage to step forward, you'll realize that your best days are not behind you. They're waiting ahead. Every great transformation comes with uncertainty. But uncertainty isn't a sign to stop, it's a sign to trust. The greatest rewards come to those who refuse to let fear dictate their future. So take the step. Move forward boldly. Your destiny is waiting. Conclusion and call to action. Final challenge. Are you ready to stop fighting closed doors and start walking through the open ones? How many times have you prayed for clarity while clinging to what's familiar? How many times have you asked for a sign but ignored the doors that shut in your face? Let me tell you something, closed doors are an answer, too. The battle isn't about knowing what's next, it's about trusting that what's next is better. The door that closed wasn't the end, it was a turn in the right direction. Stop resisting the shift. Stop mourning what's behind you. Start walking toward what's ahead.